Today in therapy, I saw 6 clients, and now my brain is basically just like mush. And I've decided that this week's vlog, I'm going to talk about how, as a psychologist, I manage myself. So that's what this week's video is going to be all about. The time is now 5:01 and I'm just about to head to a Pilates class. I got some amazing comments on my YouTube channel from someone called Alice with some suggestions for what I could talk about in this vlog, wanting to find out more about how I manage really big days like this. I'm gonna answer her questions throughout this video. The first question I'm gonna answer from Alice is, how do you manage your self-care while being a psychologist, realistically? When I was in training as a provisional psych, my self-care was not as good as it could be. I definitely burnt out. It's really hard when you're studying psychology and trying to become a psychologist. Now that I'm out of that, it's easier. My life, I have more balance. I feel like it comes down to the systems that you have in place. And I honestly believe that the less stresses you have going on in your life, the easier it is to create these systems. I'm going to unpack this more, I think, a little bit later. We'll definitely revisit this. I'm conscious that it's now 5 or 6 and I really need to get to this Pilates class. We just finished the class. How did you find it?
It was amazing. This teacher was much better.
She was such a good instructor. We went to Bondi the last time, it was not so good. All right, I'm just gonna look up another one of Alice's questions. I hope the audio is okay. The next question was, how many days have you found work for you? I reckon the sweet spot would be working 4 days a week, seeing 5 clients a day. I think that is where I would thrive the most. At the moment, I'm currently working full time and I get 6 clients booked in each day, but they don't always all show up and some of them don't want to use the full hour. So that makes it a little bit easier, and that's kind of how I manage that, because 6 clients booked in each day, 5 days a week, that would not be sustainable. We made it back. I'm so hungry, so we're gonna have some dinner and I'm just gonna get it out of the fridge and go over some more of the questions Alice sent me. Okay, so in terms of self-care, what does and doesn't work for you? Really good question. Let me just think. I'm a big believer in keeping things simple, especially when you have a lot of study going on. Like if you're studying and working to become a psychologist, even as a uni student, undergrad, which is the hardest years, I think. In terms of self-care, I really believe keep it simple. When I leave the office, I take off psychologist hat and I step into my identity outside of work. And I think having something that helps you kind of distinguish that really helps. I need to do something that like helps me switch off from that immediately. So to be really honest with you, I get on the train, headphones on, I'm listening to music. I'm not learning anything. I'm not doing anything productive. That is how I switch off from my like psychologist identity. It's something like that, or it's like tonight where I just went straight to a class. In that Pilates class, the cool thing about it was this instructor was just telling us what to do. Yeah. That is so nice. Yeah. It's so good to have someone to just tell you what to do. I don't want to think, basically. Like that is my immediate action of self-care after work. Anything that doesn't require any more thinking or decisions. No. The other thing Alice asked was also like, what doesn't work in terms of self-care? I've discovered there's a sweet spot. I can't do too much solo activity, even though I'm an introvert. Like, it needs to be a fine balance between solo stuff, rest and recharge, and like definitely after work I need to be alone for at least 30 minutes. But last year I really learned that if I am by myself all the time too much, I get really lonely, I get kind of depressed, I just get a little bit sad. I need some social time. I need to see people and like do some fun things too. We all do, I think, even if we're introverts. So for me, the sweet spot is doing like maybe 3 nights at home a week and maybe 1 to 2 nights going out and doing something or doing something fun, social. Even just living with someone has made a massive difference in terms of my well-being. Like it's really, really helped. So at least 1 to 2 nights a week, going out and doing something really fun. But yeah, I'd say one of the key things I'm often telling psych students is to find your identity outside of being a psych student or a psychologist. Learn who that person is. Engage in things to learn who that person is. Engage in new hobbies. Pick up a new hobby. It's really good. That's my advice. I do want to respond to the rest of Alice's questions about like basically just looking after yourself after a really big day, talking to people about very serious things, doing a role that I love. That is a privilege. It's a real privilege to work with people who are in a vulnerable place. I take that very seriously. But yeah, in order to kind of recharge and regulate, I've got to look after myself when I come home. And that's what I really liked about Alice's questions. And Alice, you've sent so many great comments on my YouTube channel. I've just seen a lot of them now. They're all standing out to me now. So thank you so much for that. All right, so if we just backtrack to one of her questions, like how do you realistically take care of yourself as a psychologist? I mentioned earlier, it's about creating systems. What I mean by that is that we are creatures that act kind of an autopilot. And when you've got systems in place, so things like habits, like routines in place that you actively go out and do, you're more likely to do that. So I try and have healthy habits and healthy routines. And I'm not gonna lie, when I am doing a lot, like working and studying, my healthy routines shrink. I really need to keep it simple for myself. However, I've discovered that having more free time to really focus on myself for once. The only thing I've got on in my life right now is my job and a business that I'm working on. That does take up a lot of my time, don't get me wrong, but I definitely have more capacity than I used to. So now I'm creating systems like I've got a gua sha routine that I'm doing in the evenings. I have like excellent sleep hygiene at the moment, which has just really improved the quality of my sleep. I'm a lot less stressed these days, so my whole health just feels like it's getting better, which is a good feeling. Basically, I've just got systems in place for my health, from everything like food, my sleep hygiene routine, what I do to sort of switch off straight away after work, like just letting myself clock off and not think about my job anymore and do something mindless for 30 minutes on the train. In order to create a system, you need to make sure you have everything that you need, and you need to put a little bit of prep work into setting it up. Once you've got it there, once you know exactly what to do and you've got all the resources, it's really easy to do. Make it easy for yourself. Humans will do the easiest thing. So the easier you can make healthy habits and like healthy routines, the more likely you are to do it. And I think when we say self-care in psychology, it really means taking very good care of your health. What do you find the heaviest with being a psychologist? The hardest thing to learn in this job is learning how to listen to really, really sad stories of people that have gone through tremendous pain. Learning to detach from that takes a bit of time, and there's a skill to it, I think. I'm gonna start winding it up. So the last question from Alice is, when do you know that you need to up your self-care and how do you manage that? As a woman, I have recently started to learn to operate in my 28-day cycle rather than my 24-hour cycle, which is what I've always done in the past. This is all very new to me, learning about the female body and how to like biohack my body. Anyway, so now I've learned that the week before my period starts, I have to take everything very slow. I can only do like one thing on my to-do list, and then I have to be kind to myself and say, okay, like, you know, take it easy. I have to give myself permission to rest. So for me, it's generally when I'm really stressed or I have a lot on, or it's like that week before my period, that's when I have to scale back a bit and I have to kind of accept that I'm just going to be a bit slower with the progress I want to make and my goals. The older I get, the more I study psychology, the more I learn about people, the more I'm realizing that making time for relationships and friends and people that you care about and that you love is the meaning of life. Like, it's the most important thing. So yeah, I want to do some stuff on YouTube, and like I'd love to have my own business, and like, yeah, I've got some more like goals that I want to go out and pursue, and that's all great and it's good to have that, but it's also just so important to have fun. Take a break from psychology. You know, I did that. Best thing I ever did. I really think just taking a bit of time out to live your life for you And I think that's how I've made psychology work for me, by like trying to have an identity outside of being a psychologist. I think that is how I go into my job and I bring my A game, and then I can switch off and just be the person I am outside of psychology, who has the same values, I think, and you know, she's pretty similar, but she's got her own stuff too. Like, so anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. I just kind of hope that this vlog will make sense. I have no idea if it will yet. I'm just crossing my fingers that it's interesting and fun. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you do enjoy my content, the best way you can support me is if you check out my Instagram and follow me there. That would mean the world to me. Like, obviously if you can also like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be amazing too, but I am trying to like build out my Instagram a bit more, and on that platform it's a bit easier for me to get back to people. As always, a massive thank you to all the people that have been watching me from day dot and giving me so much support. It's because of you that I get fired up to make these videos. It's felt a lot less lonely. It's really meant the world to me. And yeah, have an amazing week. Take good care of yourself. Do your own self-care stuff. Bye!